Hey everyone, I'm back with another episode of my game dev vlog here. Making good progress this week towards these two things on my to-do list. So I completed the quest prototype system that this automates Stardust resource collection by assigning your hero to a quest. And this progress towards the Stardust resource is automated. So we fill up the progress bar, and then the player is able to use any heroes they have to get that Stardust resource. And then I also extended the quest to allow for unassigning the heroes so that the progress towards this quest is paused, so you can remove a hero from a quest and then reassign that hero to a different quest. I don't have variations of different types of quests right now. It's just a single prototype quest that gives you a Stardust. So it's very simple, bare bones implementation of this questing system. But I got it to work. It's really exciting to see the progress bars fill up. I'm going to show you that here in a little bit. And the next things that I'm going to be working on are going to be hero leveling. Currently in the system, you can get heroes, and you can get multiple heroes. You can get copies and duplicates of the same hero, but there's no leveling system to the hero quite yet. So with those duplicates, right now it's just storing the variable how many duplicates, how many copies of a certain hero you have. I want to get in hero levels so that we can have an EXP curve around getting heroes to level up and then increase their luck stat, right? So as you get more copies of a certain hero, you'll be able to level them up, get their luck stat up, which is going to help you towards rolling your gachas. What's also next on my to-do list, quest time. Once we get the hero leveling system in, we can apply that to how quickly a hero can finish a quest. So your higher level hero will be able to complete quests more quickly than your lower level heroes. Then the next large system that I want to work on is the prize shop system. That's going to be the place where players are going to be able to spend their gold to acquire collectibles. So let's just jump into the demo right now, and then play through a little bit to show you how that questing system works as I built it. Let's get started here. I'm just going to load in and then use the cheat button here to load up a bunch of heroes for us. So I summoned a bunch of heroes. Usually you would have to play about 5 to 10 minutes before you get your first hero through grinding Stardust, forging star crystals, and rolling a gacha. But we're just going to skip all that for this demonstration and click the hero button here to summon a hero randomly. Now I've gotten a bunch of heroes now, and it's going to be as simple as just clicking this assign button, which is going to go through the list of heroes that I have and then choose a hero to assign to that quest. There's no player choice quite yet. I do eventually want to think about adding in a tooltip so that you can choose certain heroes to assign to certain quests. If your hero is going to have affinity towards a particular quest or a particular resource, that's going to be a good incentive for a player to collect that specific hero and level them up, right? So they'll be able to have the goal of getting a hero to a high level to target a specific quest that will give a specific resource. So let's just go through and assign all the heroes that we have. Looks like we have 3 heroes. I've assigned Alexa, Johan, and Ayumi. And You can see it's working very smoothly. The progress bars are filling up. And then there's also a timer that's counting down here based on the number of seconds left until filling up this progress bar. So it's very, very simple. As this progress bar fills up, the numbers count up, timer counts down. Once this is full, we get 1 extra count of Stardust. And this is essentially where our idling game loop is going to come into play, right? So the core loop here is a center gacha. The questing system is going to be more of an idle game loop where you can just set and forget heroes for the quests and just allow them to do work in the background and then collect resources towards your current goals. So once you get to a high enough progress in the game, you'll be able to just continue to spend Stardust without worrying about running out, just because you have a lot of heroes that can do that grinding Stardust work for you. So you can imagine the player really focused on playing the central gacha system, getting their heroes up to high enough levels to automate Stardust collection, and then focusing their gameplay around rolling for more gachas, getting those heroes to a higher and higher level, and then grinding for gold to spend for upgrades and also spend on the prize shop. So I want the player's focus to sort of go through this loop between these 3 core features, right? The gacha feature, the quest feature, and the shop feature. There's going to be very interesting balancing between the 3 to get the tuning just right so that players don't run into blockers on a particular part of the system, to make sure that the players continues to get novel interests around new and interesting goals, mini goals, and long-term stretch goals for them to grind towards. And then also to tune the balance around each of these systems' ability to generate resources for each other, right? So gacha will get you heroes that go into quests. Quests is kind of like a feedback loop here, where your heroes are assigned to quests, and the quests turn around and give you more resources. And then those resources go towards the gacha and the prize shop. Okay, and then just to demonstrate here, I can tap each of the hero names to unassign them. You can see that the quest here gets paused, the hero gets unassigned, and then we're able to redistribute these heroes across other quests if we want to. That's basically the system that I've worked on this week. Got it to a working state here where you can play and assign up to 5 heroes. We have 5 heroes in the system right now. I'm going to try to roll for them all here. Alexa, Johan, Jean. Okay, so those are the 5 heroes that we have. Once I get the hero system, the hero leveling system up and going, there's going to be a lot more work in the sort of the architecture, the code architecture side of things to get the content pipeline going, so I can more easily create and insert more and more hero types into the game. Right now it's basically hard coded for the prototype, so these 5 hero names, their qualities are all It's part of the C sharp C sharp scripts. Okay, let's stop there for this demo. What else did I do? Besides working on the quest system, I did go through and clean up a little bit. Clean up the nodes. Did a simple pass through, going through the names of the nodes, organization structure here. As the project moves forward, I want everything to be a little bit more organized. And I went through and made sure to try to name everything more clearly, make sure the hierarchy is working, and then also delete any unnecessary nodes that were not going to be used. And then lastly, here on the scripts and the folder structure, I also did a little bit of organization around folder structure, put my docs in a docs folder. Basically, here I have 2 documents that I'm updating as I work through. So I have a notes document, which I use to take notes on things that I'm thinking about and plan to work through. So there's a couple of design problems here that I have around EXP tables and whether or not certain actions should cost more and more resources. So I just put a couple of notes with my thoughts here, and then as I work on the game, I can go back and review these notes to understand what my thinking was and what I'm working towards. That's part of the project. And then you guys saw this as well. This is the to-do list. Very, very straightforward, very easy way for me to not get distracted, and also easily jump back into coding, right? So when I look at my to-do list, I know exactly what my next task is going to be. If there's certain things that I want to implement or certain ideas that I have that I won't get to in the prototype, I will actually put it down here in the alpha section. So once I move on to actual production of the full game, I'll be working through this second part of the to-do list, which is reserved for so-and-so alpha development. These are going to be more complicated and more complex, higher scope work that's going to go into here. Those are things I don't want to do during the prototyping stage, because the prototyping stage needs to move as quickly as possible. And then for scripts, we saw the gacha game script last time. This is the main script that I'm coding my prototype in, but I also introduced and started working on a couple more classes, hero, chance, and material. I want chance to be the class that manages rolling weights and rolling outcomes. So that's going to be how I'm going to consolidate all the methods and the tools around manipulating all the roles we have in our game, all the probabilities. Then hero, that's straightforward, that's going to be hero. And I also want to introduce a class to manage the different types of items we have in the game. I'm still trying to sort through exactly what the architecture is going to be there. But I think I will separate. I have an idea about separating items into different types, such as materials, which are used as a general resource, perhaps a crafting type, or crafting resource, And then also collectible items. All right, and then the last thing I want to do here is just go quickly through the new code that I've written. Here at the end of the document, the Gacha game document, I've introduced a new region for questing methods. So let's take a look at that. The way that I'm doing the questing in the game is we have a main function here for activate quest. And this one takes in a quest index, which basically is going to be specifying which quest in the list is being activated. And I use this quest index to make sure I'm associating this activation action with all the other items in that row associated with the quest. So in the UI, you saw that each quest had a progress bar. It had some text to show the timer. It had a button to activate or assign a hero to it. And these are all indexed sort of in tandem. So when I try to access the 0th quest or the first quest, the second quest, that's also going to match up with the 0th progress bar, the first progress bar, the third progress, or the second or third progress bar, and so on and so forth. Then during the activation sequence, we check which heroes are unassigned and then choose a hero to assign it. So the choosing in this case is fairly simple. It just goes through the list. So it's a predetermined order. You'll always choose Alexa first if you have Alexa. And this is just a simple version of like what the actual assignment system is going to look like in the final version, but we're just keeping it simple for purposes of prototyping here. No need to complicate things. So once the player has a hero and it's determined that the player has a hero that can be assigned, that is, this hero hasn't already been assigned to a quest, then the activation quest system passes the hero and the quest index into this method, assign hero to quest. And it uses the same quest index, takes the hero's name, and takes a reference to the hero's assignment boolean, which we're using to flag whether or not this hero is assigned. And it basically just goes through and activates everything, right? So we're accessing the progress bar, we're accessing the code button, we're accessing the assignment, the hero assignment button, and we're changing the values on them. So we start the timer, we change the assign button to the name of the hero so that we let the player know that the hero is assigned. We turn the flag on, so the boolean now says that hero is assigned. And then I'm using this array here. Just a simple array of booleans to flag whether the quest itself is active. Right, so we have a bunch of things we're tracking at the same time. The hero itself, whether the hero is assigned, the quest itself, whether the quest is active, and if these are true, during the Godot process loop, every frame, the game takes care of counting down that quest progress. And then lastly, basically kind of working in reverse, the unassignment method here, unassigned quest, just takes in an index the same way the activation method worked. Takes in that index. So now that we know which quest to deactivate and unassign, it goes through and then checks which hero is assigned, pulls that hero out, turns off the flag, deactivates the quest, and then we get a deactivated paused quest, right? And we saw all this code working in the demo that we just went through. And then the last method we're going to look at here is the update quest progress method. This is the method that's called in the process loop every frame, and it contains everything that we need to update the UI. So we go through and iterate through every single active quest, find out the ones that are active, and then work on the changing values for the timer, work on changing the value for the progress bar here. And it's just flipping those flags on and off, changing the values and counting down, and then checking the values to see if we've hit the thresholds, right? So if the threshold for completion is very simple, that's a value of 100 right here. And then the threshold for the timer, we're setting the timer to 1000. So every 1000 frames, the game finishes, the quest finishes, and we have to give the player Stardust. This line here. So I hope that was an interesting summary of the work that I've done here. It's feels like quite a milestone for me again in the prototype, because now I've learned how to work with progress bars. I've got the questing system working in at least the very rudimentary basic format, and then I'm going to be moving on to some more interesting parts of the system, right? The heroes, the prize shop. Once those two systems get working, then I will have a kind of like a fully expanded game loop with 3 moving parts. 4 moving parts essentially, right? Because we have the gachas, we have the heroes, we have the quest, we have the prize shop. And let's just say the prize shop is kind of like the ultimate goal for the game, because that ties into the collectible system that we're going to that it's going to be the wrapper. So we are making a game about collecting. Once we get to the actual counting of the collections, then the player would technically be able to play through from beginning to end, finish a collection, and how exciting is that going to be? That's going to be the full game ready to go. Okay, so that's where I'm at today. Wanted to wrap here. And quickly just thank you for following along on this game dev journey, and make sure to like and subscribe if you haven't already. I'm going to be working towards continuing to learn Godot. Progress bars was actually a fairly simple part of it, but now I'm really digging into the game engine architecture here with my next features that I'm building. So with the heroes, that's going to be the start of having multiple classes interact with each other, and it's going to be quite an interesting time. So hopefully we'll have another week of good progress, and I'll be able to check in with you all here again next week. Thanks and take care.